I've dug into the polls deeper than Death Valley to find the biggest drops for President Trump from term number 1 to term number 2. And we're going to count them down. And we're going to end with the biggest drop, so stay tuned. And we're going to tell you why it matters and what it means for the future. And we're going to start off with issue number 5. We're talking about corruption, Trump's corruption net approval rating at this time in Trump's terms. Look, in 2018, in term number 1, Trump wasn't too hot to trot. He was at negative 13 points. But look at this drop now to term number 2. He's now at negative 31 points. My goodness gracious. That is a drop of 18 points. Woof. Now, why has Trump dropped so much on corruption? Well, it may have to do something with his investments, because just take a look here. Okay, Trump earning, get this, over $2 billion, billion with a B, in term number 2 from crypto and other income. Look at this. Look what the majority of Americans say. They say that it is bad. They say that it is bad. No wonder why Trump's corruption net approval rating has been dropping so much. But you think 5 was big? How about we go to number 4 on our list? Okay, Trump's net approval rating on number 4, government spending. At this time in Trump's terms, in 2018, it was minus 12 points. Look at where we are now in term number 2. That's minus 34 points. That's minus 34 points. And doing some math here, hold on. I'm going to do a little bit of math. You know what? It turns out down, it does in fact equal bad. It does equal bad. We're talking about a 22-point drop. Woof. Now, what's going on? What's going on with government spending that Americans don't like? Well, it really did start at the beginning of Trump's second term. You can see it here. Look at this. The one big beautiful bill. Look at the impact on the debt. Over the course of the one big beautiful bill, this is trillion with a T, up $4.2 trillion over the course of the one big beautiful bill. Woof. And it ain't too popular. It ain't too popular. We're talking about a net favorability rating of negative 27 points. My goodness gracious, the Yankees have a higher net favorability rating in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, you think 4 was big? What about number 3? Let's talk about, this one, come on, I think it's fairly obvious. We all know that Americans don't like this if you've been following the polls. Trump's net approval rating on Iran at this time in Trump's terms. Look at this. In 2018, it wasn't too bad for Trump. It wasn't too bad. He was at minus 9 points. Look at this, though. Now, over the course of the Iran war, we have seen that approval rating, that net approval rating tumble. It's now minus 36 points. Minus 36 points. Some quick math here. What is that? That's a drop of 27 points. Woof. And what? What is going on? Why has Trump's approval rating on Iran dropped lower than the Strait of Hormuz? What is happening here? Well, how about this? Let's just take a look at how Americans feel about the war in Iran. Do they like what's going on? What do they think's happening? Well, 75%. We're talking about 3 in 4 Americans. 3 in 4 Americans say it is not worth the cost. President Trump, pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. Talk with any American out there, and chances are they're going to say, we don't like this war. More than that, look at this. 88% of Americans say that the war has not achieved its goals. It's not achieved its goals. So again, no wonder Americans have turned against President Trump in this war. Now, all this talk of water, the Strait of Hormuz, I was talking about Death Valley, made me very parched for thirst. Let's get a look here. Let's get a look. Okay, the soda of the week, it's a classic Diet Coke. Quite good, but I don't want to lose track of where we're going here. And you know what? We're going to go to number 2 on our list. As I said, we're going from the smallest to the biggest jumps. And this one, well, it's related to the economy. It is, of course, jobs. And take a look here. Trump's net approval rating on jobs about at this point in Trump's terms. In term number 1, he was on the positive side of the ledger. He was at plus 9 points. This is one of the first positives we've seen. But is it positive anymore? It ain't positive anymore. We're talking about a 2 in the negative direction. Down he goes. 22 is actually my lucky number, I'll point out, by the way. Down he goes. That is what? That is a 22, a 9. That is a 31-point shift against the President of the United States on an issue that was so key for him in term number 1. Now, why? Why have Americans turned against Trump in the second largest way on jobs? Well, why don't we just talk about one of Trump's big promises? One of Trump's big promises was to bring back manufacturing jobs. And you know what? He was actually doing it in term number one, change in manufacturing jobs by this point in Trump's terms. In term number one, look at this. Cumulatively, we're talking about a gain of 342,000 jobs. I almost said dollars there, but jobs do equal dollars, so I guess it does make sense. That's a promise fulfilled. That is a promise fulfilled. But what's happened in term number two? What has happened in term number two? Well, look at this. Cumulatively, we have actually had a net decrease in the number of jobs. We're talking about 50,000. And so, all told, this is about a 400,000 job difference in terms of jobs gain when it comes to manufacturing between term number one and term number two. Now, this brings us to issue number one. This is what we've been waiting for, right? Well, to quote Jimmy Carville, it's the economy, stupid. It's the economy. Look at this. Trump's net approval rating on the economy at this time in Trump's terms in 2018, again, a positive. Trump, the businessman, he actually did it. Yes, he did it. A positive, plus 9 points. But look at what's happened by 2026. Now, I always love jotting this one out, right? What is this change that we're talking about here? We're talking about from plus 9 to minus 33, and we are talking about, there it is. That is, get this, a 42-point drop. 42 points against the President of the United States. And why is it? Why has this issue that Trump was doing so well on, why have Americans turned against him? Well, take a look here. The effect of Trump's policies on U.S. economic conditions. Now we're talking about 2 in 3 Americans who say that they have worsened. They have worsened it because of the effect of Trump's policies. Just 22% say that they've improved. Then we get 13% who say that has in fact been no impact because of Trump. And what is it? What is it that is driving this in terms of the economic conditions? Well, simply put, it's inflation. It's inflation. It was the reason that Trump got elected to a second term that charged the inflation crisis. We don't have a change because the pollsters didn't even ask about inflation in term number one. But now in term number two, in our latest CNN poll, look at this. Trump 50 points underwater. 50 points underwater. I went back through the history books. Again, I told you, I dug deep into them. I dug deeper into them than anyone has basically dug into any polling archive you could before. And no president before President Trump actually had a negative 50-point or worse net approval rating on inflation. Now, of course, what does this all mean? Well, when it comes to President Trump, I'll tell you what it means. It means this. Take a look here. Trump's negative net approval rating. Every single poll since March 29, 2025 has had Trump in the negative. He has been in the negative in every single poll since that point. You know how many days in a row that is? Well, depending on when you watch this, it's going to be about 500 days in a row plus. If you're watching this on Sunday, it's a little bit less than 500 days. It's more like 498 days in a row. But if you're watching it afterwards, it's 500 days. Now, if you are a member of the Republican Party and what it means for the future, that's what I promised you. I promised you at the top what this all means to the future. We've got a huge midterm election coming up. And what does this mean? Well, the midterms, the chance that Democrats win back the House, win the Senate. Look at this. Democrats now the heavy favorites to win back the House of Representatives according to the Kalshi prediction market. We're talking about north of a 4 in 5 chance that they win back the House. What about the United States Senate? The United States Senate, the map was so much against Democrats, right? They have to win in red states. They have to win in red states like Alaska, like Texas. But now Democrats are up to a 46% chance to win the United States Senate because candidates like James Tallarico are actually ahead in more polls than they are behind. So, going to use the phone prop again. Republicans, call up President Trump. Tell them if you lose in the midterm elections, it's your fault. Oh, and by the way, if you like what you saw in this video, remember, ask questions. Leave something in the comments section, and maybe next time around, we'll answer them. Shalom, my friends.